So what I wanted to say is that if you want a revolution, it starts today. Hey, I'm out here in the greenhouse and wanted to share a quote with you. I know I've used this quote before on the channel. Bill Mollison, he is basically the grandfather of permaculture, and he said this: I teach self-reliance, the world's most subversive practice. I teach people how to grow their own food, which is shockingly subversive. Yes, it's seditious, but it's peaceful sedition. It would be interesting to know when that quote was made. I would say it was probably made in the 80s, maybe even in the 70s, maybe the late 70s, when you think about the interesting time in America that the 70s were. But you know, we do a lot of current events and different things on the channel, and we get these comments of, we need a revolution, you know, we need to stop them and all that stuff. And the interesting part about all of that, I'm out here, I'm transplanting these strawberry plants. We're gonna grow them inside here, kind of see how much better they operate here in these kiddie pools. But sometimes I wonder if all these revolutionary people online aren't just bots or whatever. But you know what we say all the time is observe the masses and do the opposite. Your life should be a revolution, right? Against all of the social norms and all of reality. You observe the masses and you do the opposite. The reality is the masses, the body of the bell curve, they're enormously overweight, they're incredibly unhealthy, they live an incredibly synthesized lifestyle, they eat ultra processed food, they're completely disconnected from their food, from infrastructure, from all these different things. And if you're some guy with a pew, right, and you think you can like live a completely detached artificial life, and then you're gonna pick up your guns and do some kind of revolutionary thing, and it's all the government's fault. Well, you could overthrow the government, put it in with a better government that you think aligns with whatever, and none of that will resolve the artificial infrastructure problems that have been created. None of that will resolve this global technocratic oligarchy tyranny in a real way. If we had this political revolution, we'll still all starve to death, right? So, you know, TD, why are you laughing about that? I mean, this is a serious thing. I mean, it's laughable. It's laughable. That's why I'm laughing at it. Because you got to laugh or you'll cry. You observe. And then there's this whole other new dichotomy on social media between like who's a real homesteader and who's a fake homesteader. And then there's people, we have good friends that poop in buckets, and you know, some people are saying that it's all for show and it's not real, and the reason they do all this stuff is because just to make money on YouTube and all that stuff. You can't, and you know, if you break free, if you want to share reality with people and you break free from this Pollyanna whatever, you know, you're a fearmonger. It's completely unbalanced, uncalled for, unnecessary. It's very strange, you know, like, and it's some kind of competition. Well, these people that poop in buckets aren't, you know, as real of a homesteader as we are, and all this stuff. So there's a lot of that, and that fits into this whole curated social media experience where, you know, and all the Instagram filters and all that stuff. Comparing yourselves among yourselves is not wise. What we try to do on our channel is just be real. We share, you know, we're Christians. We share our Christian values and what we hold dear and sacrosanct, and what we recognize as, you know, we try to live out what we believe in real time. And it's ugly, it's dirty, it's not pretty, it's not Instagram worthy. A lot of times it's a mess, a lot of times it's a big experiment. And but we try to be real, we try to be transparent, we try to be clear. So what I wanted to say is that if you want a revolution, it starts today. You know what? And you don't have to worry about the Bloods and the Crips. You don't have to worry about the red and the blue, right? You don't have to worry about which selections that you get to choose from, you know, and the little plastic steering wheel in the back seat and all that stuff. You have to live your revolution today. Hey, if you're fat and overweight, you got to change that, right? If you have supply chain disruptions, if you don't have access to proteins, right, that are local to you, you need to change that. You need to fix that. You're in trouble. You're in trouble. And, you know, the thing about all this is, and all this weird dichotomy, all this divide and conquer stuff on social media that's weird, is they act like if you point out these supply chains issues and all this self-controlled destruction, this self-controlled demolition of Western culture and Western infrastructure and supply chains and Western culture as a whole, postmodern, post-truthism and all that stuff, like if you buy into that and you show how that's being how that's happening and how they're trying to force central bank digital currency and all that on us, right? Then you're trying to sell fear online or whatever. Like, reporting and talking about reality is somehow selling fear online for profit. But, you know, I'm a real homesteader because I do lots of cleaning and I do lots of planning and all that stuff. It's really weird. It's really weird. But for all y'all that want a revolution and need a revolution and 1776 and all that stuff, today is your revolution. Your revolution has to start today, because I don't think there is a political solution. I don't think we're going to fix any of that. I think we're going to have to deal with that, right? I think we're going to have to deal with it as best we can. And but our revolution is what we're, you know, today I'm putting these strawberries, I'm transplanting them into this bed to grow more strawberries inside this infrastructure we just completed. You know, this is my revolution. All right. And it's got to be something that you do every day, and it's got to be real. It's got to be tangible. And it can't be some disjointed, disconnected thing of, you know, they, them, and those out there. You know, it's the same thing, just like comments from other people in a very different vein, where they say, oh, you just want to talk about all this stuff. No, I mean, no, we try to live it out in real time. There's people that want to live this bread and circuses, artificial synthetic life. They want to watch their NFL and their NHL and all their transhuman propaganda stuff, and they want to take in all that nutrition. You know, that's junk food for the mind, is all of that is. That's no different than Fox News and MSN and CNN. Junk food for the mind. It's bread and circuses for the masses, so that Rome can burn down, and we're going to make sure that you have just enough bread and just enough entertainment. And I mean, this is a strategy that is so I'm saying, you know, the revolution is the wake-up call. You know, we try to live this out in real time and share just a little bit of it with you, because you know what, most of it is drudgery, most of it is boring, most of it is the same thing over and over and over again, which is why we don't just show the same thing over and over again, which is why we try to mix it up and we try to do all these different things to make it interesting. But if you want a revolution, if you need a revolution, your revolution can start today. You know, but the revolution has to be growing throughout your entire life. If you're a Christian, you know, you need to be studying God's word. You need to be in prayer every day. And if you haven't been doing that, you need to do that. You know, and what is that? That's revolutionary. That's revolutionary to your heart, mind, soul, and body. And then if you're concerned about the food infrastructure and the supply chains and all that stuff, you need to do what you can today to start reversing that process. Just small, tiny baby steps moving in the right direction. You know, we were concerned in the area 8 years ago, we were very concerned that the area where we lived prohibited us from doing much of the things that we thought that we may or may not want to do. There was lots of financial restrictions, and there was lots of physical restrictions, permitting, regulations, a lot of government overreach and overstep. So we moved, you know, because you can still walk to freedom, or the vestiges of freedom that's left in America. You can still do that. So we did. And that's just another step. Now, that's a big step. That's a revolutionary step, and that takes a lot of time and resources and all kinds of stuff. But that's all part of the revolution. And it's also antithetical to the they, them, those, and the technocrats and the oligarchs. They want a revolution. They want a revolution of force because they hold the cards in the force multiplier, okay, with the panopticon control grid and all the drag and drop, track and trace, and all the large scale military industrial complex weapons. They hold the keys and the cards on that. And unfortunately, the men and women of these different institutions care not for the Constitution. They care not for their fellow man. They care not for humanity. Unfortunately, they're willing to follow orders in lockstep with their jackboots on. And you know what? We can't control that. You got to take control of what you can control today. And you got to start today, and you do a little bit. You got to do a little bit, and you build. And the next thing you know, and the other weird thing is we get these weird, you sound like you're bragging. I mean, y'all, we're not masters of any of this stuff. And none of this stuff happened by accident, and none of it happened overnight. And the little tiny bit of what you experience has been over 7 to 8 years of our lives, and every day doing a little bit of something and investing and investing and investing and rejecting these modern concepts of retirement and stock markets and 401ks. You know, that's why we have a food 401k. That's why we have the infrastructure we have, is by systematically dollar cost averaging into infrastructure. You know, check out our food for us in a box, TheTexasBoys.com. We're selling our cuttings. This is all a culmination of 8 years worth of blood, sweat, and tears, and eight years of revolution. This is revolution, right? This is sedition. This is a seditious life, observing the masses and do the opposite, right? Rejecting the bread and circuses, rejecting the Hollyweird and their agenda and all their propaganda and their money machine, and not contributing to that, not amplifying that, but rejecting it and denouncing it. Same thing with all the military industrial complex integration with propaganda system, mass media, the bread and circuses arm of the National Whatever League, of all of them, with all their tax breaks and all their military industrial inclusion et al. All of that nonsense. They're just propaganda arms of the beast and the machine. And the revolution is to reject and refuse it, and to not participate. I'm not going to participate in their nonsense and all their dialectic. And it's just, I want you to think about that today, y'all. Your revolution starts now. The revolution starts today. I'm working in my revolution right now, and it's, before I opened that door, it was 100 degrees in here, y'all. And it's only 60 degrees outside. Talk about a force multiplier. Talk about weather as a force multiplier. This do-it-yourself greenhouse that was not simple to construct, by the way. But you know what? We fumbled our way through it. We figured it out, and we did it, and now it's here. And it's here. That's part of our revolution. Observe the masses and do the opposite. Reject the dialectic, reject the mainstream, reject the noise, reject the nonsense, and reject all this divisionism and everything that wants to divide and conquer and chop us all up and compare ourselves among ourselves, and you know, you're cooler than this guy and all that stuff, man. It's crazy, and it's nonsense, and it's noise, and it does not, it's completely and totally and utterly non-profitable. It's completely unprofitable. But that's all I got for today, y'all. I'm gonna finish moving and spreading out all these strawberries. It's another little experiment we're doing here in the Bootstrap Farmer DIY greenhouse, and I'll put a link below for our Bootstrap Farmer. I'll put a link below for the Food Forest in a Box. But food for thought. Let me know what y'all think down below. Everybody likes to share their opinions, so share your opinions down below. Y'all have a great day. See you on the next video.